Amari Cooper should really help this Bills wide receiver room. The Bills wideouts ranked 25th or worse in targets, receptions, receiving yards, and receiving first downs. Hawk's shaking his head over there. Let's start with you. How does Cooper change this passing game for Josh Allen?
This is a more impactful trade than the Davante Adams trade.
Ooh, really?
And I would say that across the league because what it does is it gives stability to this offense. Like we've applauded Josh Allen and this offense for their ability to spread the ball around. But we've seen in moments throughout the season where they've missed Stephon Diggs. They don't have a single receiver that they can hang their hat on in moments where, to your point, Swagu, they need a playmaker. Cooper does that. Not only that, you ensure you win the division because they're going to beat the Jets, and the Jets make their move, then the Bills make their move.
Hawk, you are coming out firing right now.
And you keep them away from your
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
The hump you can't get over to the Super Bowl. So, again, I think this is the most impactful trade between this and the Davante Adams trade.
And the reason being is because we saw Buffalo suffer from guys either moving on, contract situations, and coming into the season with all of those injuries. And the question we had was because the first couple of weeks they did it by committee. And we was like, this can work because Joe Brady did it the last 6 games of the season. And it was so popular for people to say, oh, I'm so glad Stephon Diggs gone until you need him. Right? And I think you one, compensate for that. And 2, I'm with you on Buffalo as far as the division because they still got the best quarterback in the division. And when you think about this team playing now where they are, Ed Oliver didn't play against the Jets. Like they weren't a full boat against that team. And obviously bringing in Amari Cooper, it does the same thing for Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid that we said about Davante Adams.
Right size is the receiver.
Absolutely.
So it's worth saying Amari Cooper can still play, right?
No doubt.
The tape this year.
You might have forgotten.
He's had some drops this year.
He's had some drops, but I do feel like that Cleveland offense is
dragging open.
He still gets open. And I just looked this up because I was curious. When you go back to last year when Joe Flacco took over the offense, Amari Cooper was 5th league-wide in yards per game versus man coverage. You know what the Bills need? Someone who can beat man coverage. I like how his skill set fits with the existing receivers on the roster. You got size in Coleman. You got speed in Shakir. He instantly walks in as the best route runner on this roster. I think this was a huge move for Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree. I disagree that this is more impactful than the Davante trade. We can get into that. But I will say this. The top 3 teams in my eyes in the AFC are Kansas City, Houston, Baltimore. I have not had Buffalo in that group. I've had them just a tier below. They are now in that group with this addition.
Who do they slot ahead of?
I just felt like it was those 3 teams.
Oh, so
then Buffalo was a group below because I didn't believe that they could win consistently versus man coverage. They're in that top 4 now because of this. Not only do they have to beat man coverage, they had no ability to push the ball downfield, like legitimately. Josh get outside of the pocket and make some plays, but somebody that you could just go, hey, we need you to win 15 yards down the field. Coop can still do that. And I think
running back winning downfield last night.
More than a receiver. If their offensive line is going to continue to dominate, this is a massive move. And so this isn't like you, Marcus, you made the point that Davante move is about the playoffs. This is about making sure. I think Buffalo thought that this year was a rebuild year and next year would be the year because the contract would clear.
Some promise.
And then they played some games and they were like, no, we're good enough to play with anybody.
And even in their own division, to your point, Dio, even in your own division, obviously 2 are missing time. We all thought New England would struggle. So you and the Jets, and the Jets made a move where you probably still were a better team than the Jets anyway.
After they got Davante?
After they got Davante.
You are out of your mind.
No, listen to what I'm saying. You were a better team because you didn't have to face them but one more time. So you already up on them in the division, right? Like, I'm not talking about personnel. I'm just talking about where you're
situation.
Likely to win.
Look, we can talk about the feeling that the Jets would have had if they won the game. They would have felt good about it. That was a big-ass impactful divisional game last night.
Huge.
When we started like layering
I think
who
that's
these
why
7
they felt
teams
that way after the game. The Jets realized how massive that game was.
And then when Buffalo made this move, they at least evened it some more when it comes to personnel. Now we go to why I said the quarterback. Right? So I still believe when you look at Buffalo and this move with Amari Cooper, it's impactful from a player personnel standpoint, but ultimately, to your point, and what I was getting at, they did something last night in this division that could carry them the rest
But
of
I think
the
it's
season.
about Kansas City, Houston, and Baltimore. I think
Oh,
Cooper's
100%.
about
Like,
that.
those are the teams,
Yes.
for sure.
So it was interesting prior to the game talking to offensive coordinator Joe Brady, and he said, look, because we don't have one of these true number ones, we have to scheme it that way.
Scheme it that
we have
way,
to think we got to spread the ball around. That's why they had struggled the last couple games before last night. But
Now they got a guy.
have that.
They got a winner.
So think about how he can scheme with Josh Allen as the quarterback.